by the local tourney and get matched with my dame. Just one more goat bounce and I've got the game. Then on her turn she plays shift Donald Duck. Gosh, it seems that I've run out of luck.
Come on now, let's play some more Kana. With such a sugar rush, it's a nirvana. We'll rip a booster pack or four, shark food bites and roast a smorgasbord of Lord S'more Kana.
Do you think Goofy has heard A Whole New Sound, the album that Disney just released with all of the punk covers of classic Disney songs?
I sure hope so, because arguably one of the best songs that has ever come out of a Disney movie, which is from a Goofy movie, is on that album.
And it slaps.
Eye to Eye, the cover on A Whole New Sound. Ah!
Yeah, do yourself a favor. If you have not yet listened to Whole New Sound, go ahead and look that up on Spotify or wherever you listen to your music because, oh man, it is so fun.
Yes, it's all we've been listening to. We listen to the Lorcana podcasts, and now we listen to that, and that's it. That's all that's on.
If you listened to pop punk in the 2000s, you're going to be especially happy because it's like Yellow Card, Newfound Glory, Bowling for Soup, Does Friend Like Me. It's like every single big pop punk band from the 2000s is represented. And they do a fantastic job covering Part of Your World and A Whole New World and Eye to Eye.
Surface Pressure from Encanto.
We've been listening to that album nonstop. You've been playing it for your students in class.
Whether they like it or not, I'm going to show them what the classics really are.
And I'm just thinking that maybe Goofy will get inspired and drop a pop punk cover of our theme song.
Oh, you think so?
Wouldn't that be cool?
We should be so lucky.
Hey everybody, I'm Brett.
I'm Katie.
And you're listening to S'more Kana.
We are a lovely blend of snacks, Lorcana, and Disney. We are so excited to be chatting with you today because it feels like we're right in the thick of Shimmering Skies. We are covered with these cards. We are loving them. We're trying new things. It's all we're talking about all the time. Our league is coming to a big finish here. Like we're at an exciting time here for Lorcana.
It's a great time to be immersed in the game. We're in the midst of DLCs. Our league is in the thick of it. There are so many decks out there that are so much fun. We're getting news constantly about the future of the game. It's just a really good time to be enjoying this hobby. We had a great time at League this past week in particular.
This was our last week of League before the big tournament, so it was our last time really to make adjustments to our deck and make those trades, get some of those reps in, see how our decks are doing. And when we walked in, there was a snack at League.
A gigantic snack. I mean, we're talking 2 human-sized bags of snack.
Yes, it's like in Parks and Recreation when they talk about the kid-sized drink being the size of a child if it was liquefied.
Yeah, we got 2 adolescent-sized bags of popcorn.
It was amazing.
The soccer moms, Jess and Tanya, had picked up these huge bags of popcorn after listening to our last episode.
Yeah, and they brought individual popcorn buckets from cruises and Disney World and Disneyland and all the cool Disney places that they've been. And they put a popcorn bucket full of popcorn at everyone's table. It was so cool.
It was so much fun. Every single table had these buckets of popcorn to snack upon throughout the evening, and they had quite the collection.
Yeah, they had a popcorn bucket. I mean, they had a lot of popcorn buckets I've never seen. I shouldn't say they had one I've never seen. They had a lot I've never seen. They had one that was in the shape of Mickey, which is very cool, classic. They bring that one around quite often. Then they had one that had Avengers symbols on it, like little circles with all the little Avengers, like Captain America's shield and a little Spider-Man thing. And then they had one of the popcorn buckets from the Disney Cruise Line. That was on my table. That was very thrilling.
So they've been availing themselves of the great promotion, the sale-priced popcorn that you can get throughout your Disney trips if you get one of those collectible buckets.
Yes, very smart. They know what's up. The soccer moms get it.
We actually have a cool picture for the gram that we never posted. We have to post that picture.
Oh my God.
We took a picture with the soccer moms and all of their popcorn and their popcorn buckets, and we'll make sure we post that like right after we record this.
Most definitely. It will be up by the time you're hearing this.
How is League going for you? How is your deck?
Oh, okay. So, dear listener, you may remember that this time at League, I'm trying to be a little more proactive than I was last league. Last league, I kind of just let it happen to me, and I didn't actively seek out certain things for trades or for what I wanted my deck to look like. But this time, pretty early on, I was like, all right, I know what I'm doing. I'm doing Christmas colors. We're hitting it. I think in the second week we had league, I was already down to the 2 colors that I wanted. But my original plan was to play a bunch of locations. I just love locations, and there just aren't that many this set. And it just really didn't work out with the colors that I had picked. So I kind of had to let go of my locations last week, and I am morphing it into a little more of a low to the ground kind of rushy deck, trying to get Mickey and Minnie to work, which is really exciting for me. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I wouldn't say it's a terrible deck, but I also wouldn't say it's an amazing deck, but it's certainly fun. That's all that matters.
There aren't that many archetypes in this set that lend themselves to like a self-contained build. Like last set you had heroes, and you could make a pretty cohesive hero deck with just cards from that set. Or you could make a pretty cohesive Madrigal deck with just cards from that set. In this set, yeah, there are the hyenas and there are the Sugar Rush Racers. Neither of those archetypes are super strong on their own. They really kind of rely on cards from old sets. Like, you need better locations to pull off the Sugar Rush Racers. Or you need cards that do damage to many characters, like Grab Your Sword or Tinkerbell, to enable those hyenas. So, not the easiest thing to build a cohesive deck in this set. They also don't include any cards from old sets in these starter decks, whereas they did include older cards in the last starter decks, which I think made them a little bit more well-rounded. So I wouldn't beat yourself up for not having a super cohesive deck. I think everybody's just trying to put in the best cards they possibly can. Try to whittle it down so that you have 4 of the best cards and fewer of the not-so-great cards, and go from there.
Exactly. You do what you can do with what you get, and I've ended up with a lot of really cool cards. I pulled a Clarabelle, I pulled an Anna, I've pulled a Mufasa, I've gotten a lot of cool cards over League, so it's definitely worth it. It's definitely a lot of fun. You can only control as much of it as you can really control. What about you?
I am feeling pretty good about my deck. I, from the start, said I wanted to dive into Blurple. Mostly because I was looking at some of the blue cards and I really liked them. I wanted to play Donald Duck and Scrooge McDuck on turns 4 and 5. That was a huge determining factor. I had the one Scrooge from a pack, and I've been able to accumulate a couple more of them. And then there are a lot of really good Amethyst cards. Like, I feel like the Amethyst commons and uncommons are among the best, if not the best, this set. You have cards like the Library, and you have some of these evasives like Bruni and Archimedes. Just a lot of really strong utility cards. And of course, you start off with an Elsa, and that card is amazing. So I'm feeling really good about the card quality in my deck, and that's all you can really hope for. We did, funnily enough, pull another Mufasa this week.
Yes, we did.
We had no Mufasas going into League. 0 in our collection. And over the course of opening 16 packs, we opened 3 Mufasas, and then were able to use cards from those packs to trade for a 4th. So somehow we ended up with 4 Mufasas in our League pools.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, we definitely lucked out in that sense for this league for sure.
I'm actually playing the Mufasas in my deck as well, 2 of them. And when they hit the table, they're pretty darn strong. Extremely hard to get rid of in this limited format, and also provide a little bit of card advantage of a kind. So I'm loving playing those.
Most definitely. I mean, that part of your deck is pretty busted, especially like you said, in a limited format like that, where no one's really built to take away your Mufasas. I know that Rob keeps threatening to play Scars just so that if he gets matched up against you, he can take away your Mufasas.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to play an inkable card like that and hold it in his hand for 8 turns, just hoping that I play a Mufasa, then I think I'm okay with that interaction.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how it all shakes out in the tournament this week.
It's going to be really interesting. Shout out to Archer. I think Archer might be the person to beat in the league.
That's been the hot word around town, is that he's got the best deck in League. And, having lost to that many a times now, I don't disagree.
He managed to accumulate 3 daisies, and then he has 4 of, I believe, every single 7 dwarf character, and 3 Snow Whites.
That's wild.
So with all of those characters and the mine, the Seven Dwarfs mine, he has a lot of cohesion in the deck, and it can be really tough to face. It can go pretty quickly and has some control elements.
We've also had a lot of fun with how our league is set up. So you get points for playing a game, right? You get points for winning a game, you get points for losing a game, you get points for doing a multiplayer game, and you can also gain points if you're wearing Disney apparel, which we always are, if you're playing with Disney accessories, which we always are, and you can also, which is new this league, get bingo.
Yeah, there are bingo cards that were handed out during the first week of League, and they have different objectives in each square. So it might say something like, banish 4 characters in a single turn, or play a character that has 8 or more willpower, or have a Storyborn, Dreamborn, and Floodborn character in play on the same turn. Just different sort of achievements that you can tick off. And if you are able to hit a bingo, get 5 of those sort of achievements in a line, you get 5 bonus points towards your league total.
Which is awesome. I have only gotten 1 bingo, but you've gotten a couple bingos.
I actually scored 4, which is not the most in the league. At least Rob has scored more than that. He has 5. So I maybe have some catching up to do going into the final week of League, but it's been really fun. It's fun to make funky plays in your games to try to tick off an achievement. Like, you might hold off on questing so that you can quest more on the following turn and try to get the 10 lore in 1 turn achievement. So it's really cool.
We're having a lot of fun with League, as we always do. I mean, it's a great group of folks who come by to play in League, and we just relish any opportunity that we get to play really silly decks and just have fun and hang out with Lorcana.
I saw some discourse online about the lack of trading that kind of happens at League. Folks were saying like, well, everybody kind of ends up with a lot of the cards. If they're a competitive player, they, buy singles or they buy enough cards that they have their play sets. And so not a lot of trading ends up happening. And I would say that if you are of that mindset and want to trade more, encourage your local gaming store to implement a similar format to our league, because it is hysterical watching people fly around for the first hour of League, seeing what everybody got. What'd you open this week? What are you looking for? And then if somebody, my goodness, should miss a week of League, and so they have a backlog of League packs to open, it becomes like this vulture swarm where everybody's waiting for them to open their packs, and then all of this wheeling and dealing starts happening. We have 3-sided trades where if you can't work out something, 1 for 1 with somebody, you grab somebody else and make it like a triangle, a trading triangle. It can be so much fun.
Yeah, it's electric to watch it happen. And it can sometimes be overwhelming too if you're not totally settled in or you're not sure what you want yet. Like Johnny came last week and he hadn't been, and he was opening 1,000,000 packs, and people were just hovering near him, waiting to see what he got. It's so funny to hear that some people don't think that there's enough trading in Lorcana, which I guess I understand if they don't have a league or if they don't have the same kind of like vibrant local community that we have. But it's like, that's unimaginable to me. I think about trades in Lorcana as like so 1-in-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trading card game, right? It's one of the integral kind of foundational aspects of the game that you are encouraged to accumulate extras of some things or things that you don't particularly care for, and then trade them for things that you want.
Yeah, it's something that I never thought I would love as much as I do, but I do remember back when we were playing Hearthstone, and it was my first game kind of like this, I would always hope for some kind of a trading element, and I don't think I realized how badly I wanted that, because there would be a lot of instances where I would get a legendary card that you wanted, or you would get a legendary card that I wanted, and we would just have the feeling of like, if we could just trade these, then like we don't need 2, we just need each other's 1. Like, it's definitely rewarding to have a trading card game like this where you can trade for what you want and make those decisions. Is really fun.
I would also say that the trading ends up being not super competitively oriented, if that makes sense. Like, especially as folks round their decks into form and get the pieces that they need, and they're only looking for a few pieces, it becomes about really trying to give everybody what they need, like trying to get all of the pieces within all of these shared little mini collections to coalesce, like distribute the Sapphire cards to who needs them and distribute the Ruby cards to who needs them. And it's less about, like trying to one-up the person in a trade. And it's more like, okay, like who needed the basil? Oh, yeah, they don't have their playset of basils yet. Like they're playing blue. They need a basil. Like that's really fun. It's really fun seeing everybody's decks kind of lift up to see how good they can get.
Definitely.
What about outside of League? What are we doing? What are we playing? What are we brewing?
Oh my gosh, what aren't we brewing? That's the real question. We're brewing so much that we're trying to brew the same cards like 4 different ways. That's what's happening to us right now.
Yeah, we're ending up in these situations where we're like, okay, the key to this meta is, I don't know, Wreck-It Ralph, say.
Right.
And then so we end up with these 4 decks that all need Wreck-It Ralph. And so we keep proxying, I think it's more cards like Daisy Duck, say, where it's like, oh, we need 16 copies of Daisy Duck. And so we're constantly making proxies as we feverishly brew new builds.
I have been gravitating towards Steel Song. It's not really to my taste, I guess, as a player normally, which is why I am trying to expand my horizons and play it and not just write it off because I don't think that I'll like it. It's been fun to play with it. It's definitely going to make me a better player against it, even if I choose to not play it forever and ever and not play it in Seattle. It's tricky for me. I'm not a combo kind of gal who can wait and take long turns. I feel the ticking of the clock in the back of my head and I just want to keep on racing to the finish for Lorcana. And that's what makes, aggro decks more appealing to me. But then by the same token, I don't like how quickly aggro decks go because I do want to take more time and I do want to make those creative decisions and not just have the game laid out for me based on what I draw.
It's interesting. I think maybe that our iteration of Steel Song that we've been playing is not a particularly quick kind of Steel Song. It does have more of a top end. It runs lanterns as well, and we don't run Daisy in that list. But we could easily put in some more piglets and run Daisy Duck and take out the Cinderella Stout-Hearteds and make it a little bit quicker. And maybe that would strike the balance for you. It will be interesting to try to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue experimenting and to keep playing. We have been really lucky, like we always say, in this area to be able to pop into our game stores and get some reps in almost on demand. There's usually someone there to play with, so we're going to keep on tinkering a little bit. I've thought about doing Emerald Amethyst as well. That could be a lot of fun. I've liked that in the past. And being able to toss new cards into it will be a lot of fun. So that's probably the next on my to build list.
Every single time you play Steel Song, it seems like you end up frustrated by it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see you pivot off of that pretty soon as the deck you're really considering. I think you'll really like Emerald Amethyst. You've liked Emerald Amethyst in the past in set 3 when it really focused on Ursula, Deceiver of All. And now there are so many new cards. But it does also have a core that isn't dissimilar to Ruby Amethyst, which you were adept with and enjoyed. So I bet you'll like that.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. I'm excited to keep exploring things. We're having so much fun just playing and testing and being silly with it. What have you been brewing? What are you playing around with?
I'm still trying to figure out Amber Ruby Princesses. I'm having fun with that. I love that color combo. Trying to see if there's something there. I think it's a pretty good deck. It's just a question of whether it can go quickly enough to beat Ruby Sapphire and resilient enough to withstand Steel Song. So, that's always the question with every deck, and right now it's kind of about throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. I'm not yet ready to commit to one of the big meta decks.
Yeah, definitely. I get that. Your good old boy Popsicle's always there when you need it, So it is fun to explore and try to find new solutions and new decks.
This is all putting the cart before the horse a little bit because next week we're going to dive into our big meta discussion of Shimmering Skies. We'll have the Las Vegas and Birmingham DLCs to recap. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty a bunch more next time.
But in the meantime, I'm pretty hungry. I could do for some mozzarella sticks, maybe a bread basket, even some calamari for an app. You want to order something?
Yeah, some seafood sounds good.
Hello?
Hi, Helga.
Oh, so sorry. I am Helga's twin sister, Melga.
Melga. Hi, Melga. Helga and Melga, the twins from... Where are you from again?
We're from out of town.
Yeah, okay.
I've brought
I
you.
thought so.
I've brought you calamari. Please enjoy.
Thank you, Melga.
Wow, Melga.
Melga.
We've never seen Melga here before.
I've never seen Melga. I had no idea that I was about to meet Melga, Helga's twin sister, or that she had a twin sister until this very moment.
Well, we don't know a lot about Helga.
She's a woman of mystery.
And you know what? I do remember Francois saying that he was going to be out of town for a little while with Helga. So maybe that's why Melga's filling in today.
Odd that we haven't seen Melga before. I mean, we've been doing this for, 9 months now?
Yeah, maybe she only shows up once in a while.
She's a fill-in.
Yeah, we'll have to get more information from her next time. Calamari? How tasty. What does this mean? What was the lorecast all about?
Well, it's quite appropriate that we got Calamari delivered because the next set for Disney Lorcana is the Azurite Sea, and it is sea-themed.
We are so excited about this. We watched the Lorecast on our phones because we were out of town when it was on, and we were audibly gasping every single time they made an announcement. I mean, talk about fan service. Chip and Dale.
Chip and Dale.
Like,
Woo!
what? We've been hoping for them since, the first Dream card.
I think our second Dream card set was Chip and Dale.
It's amazing.
Episode 2.
Yeah.
And they're finally coming.
We've said it before. We speak things into existence here. You're gonna see them.
This, of course, is their Rescue Ranger iterations.
What some would call their best iterations.
I don't know. I do love Rescue Rangers. It was extremely important to me as a child. As I've said before, there's a video somewhere of me running around the house in my underwear singing Rescue Rangers as a child. It was the first comic book I ever owned, so I'm definitely excited for the Rescue Rangers to be making their way to the game.
Yes, if you send us $3 million in a brown paper bag, we will send you this lost footage.
Maybe this is what we need a Patreon for. This is what it would be, is if you subscribe on Patreon, then you could see the video of me with Rescue Rangers as a kid.
The exclusive content.
Yeah, that's the exclusive content.
I love that. We also got Big Hero 6.
Yeah, love Big Hero 6.
Very exciting.
Tadashi is here.
La 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 la.
Oh, love it.
So exciting. We had so much fun in the San Francisco land when we were in Disneyland, too.
Yeah, there's a whole land in California Adventure that is themed to San Francisco from Big Hero 6.
Yeah, that's great fan service. So I know that there's a big fan base out there for Big Hero 6 that's going to be delighted. And the pirate theme goes on.
Pirate Tigger looks so cool.
Wow, 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 wow.
I love a good Ruby Emerald action deck and playing airfoil, and Tigger, this new Pirate Tigger is going to love that deck.
Yes, Tigger riding an airfoil forever. Yes, please.
Airfoil forever.
Airfoil forever. We also got all kinds of cool playmats coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, one of them is Elsa the Fifth Spirit.
Incredible.
Amazing Elsa art. I love Elsa.
Yes, she's the bomb.com.
It's going to be awesome. That will be my new amethyst mat of choice, I'd say.
And as if it couldn't get any better,
the best playmat ever created. Donald Duck Buccaneer.
Amazing.
I can't wait for that.
It's beautiful to look at. It's probably going to be framed on our wall along with our Belle Accomplished Mystic mat.
I feel a little bit better about selling our Cinderella Stout-Hearted foil playmat because now the Donald Duck steel mat is coming.
Yes, definitely. We're also getting some Honey Wizard sleeves. Honey Wizard sleeves are probably going to make me come back to sleeves. I thought I never would because sometimes the Lorcana sleeves are a little bit fragile. They can peel back a little bit when you're shuffling them. Sometimes they're a little sticky. But apparently the sleeves have gotten better. And I really need those Honey Wizard sleeves. I'd double sleeve for the Honey Wizard.
Wow.
Yep.
Big statements being made.
And they are big statements. When you double sleeve, the deck's huge. Really hard to shuffle.
Yeah. It's almost impossible. It's quite an endeavor to shuffle a double-sleeved deck.
But I'd do it for the whiz. I would do anything for the whiz of honey.
We got dates for Continentals, which is cool for the folks who have qualified for those events. They know when they're going to be. I'm looking forward to at least catching coverage of those.
Yep. And they went over the rules for Pack Rush. They made it a little bit of an official, here's what a Pack Rush is kind of a moment. Now, we saw these in Texas.
Yeah, and they're fun. You know, it's a fun little diversion. It takes 15 minutes tops to play this quick little game with your couple of packs of cards.
We only did it once, and it was just fine. I mean, because you only opened so many cards, so we didn't really get that much fun stuff to play. And the other person only opens so many cards, and you just kind of like dump them out and play. So you don't really have time to like know what you have, and it doesn't really matter if you know what you have.
I'd say that if you go into it thinking like this is an extremely high variance format and I'm just going to get more value out of these 2 packs that I'm about to open, I think that's the attitude for it. I would never consider it any kind of competitive format. And I'm not a huge fan of like spending the $15 to do that, to get the 1 to 2 tickets at a DLC, maybe to fill time. Like if you have a super long lunch break, you finish rounds early and you can squeeze in a pack rush and get a ticket or 2. Sure, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of like, I'm going to grind pack rush all day and like to get my 12 tickets. That doesn't sound like a ton of fun. But at League, for instance, we saw a few folks who got their 2 League packs and then were using those 2 packs to do a pack rush off the bat. And that's a cool way to open your packs.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I love that. I would love to do that on the next release day. Have a little time where we all do a bunch of pack rushes. That would be really silly and fun.
That's a good idea.
Well, then we should do it.
Well, this was a nice little play to Calamari. Little recap of the lore cast. I think it was really exciting. We got some news that we weren't expecting, you know, especially Big Hero 6 joining the game. That was really cool to see.
Delicioso. Hello?
Hi, Melga. Good to see you again. Melga, how long have you been working here?
Since, the day I was born.
What? From the day you were born, you've been working here?
It feels like it.
Oh, so a long time.
Yes. Here is your dinner. It's a dinner that's made of pasta and sauce. And made of peanut butter and jelly. It's also made of salsa and chip. Enjoy.
Thanks, Melga. What are we looking at here?
What is this?
I don't know. Oh, it's a classic pairing, like a question and an answer.
Oh, perfect. It's time we do our first ever questions and answers segment. This is very exciting and long coming for us. We've been talking about this for a while, wanting to do questions and answers.
It feels like something that all the podcasts do. And we're like, maybe we should do that. Maybe people like that. Maybe people want to ask us questions.
Yeah, we like listening to it on other podcasts, so why not? Why not put it on our own?
Yeah, we got a broad array of questions. So, you know, here are a few of them. And if it's something that you enjoy, feel free to write to us with some more questions. You can always email us or send us a message on social media, and we'd be happy to feature those.
Yeah, we'll certainly be returning to a question and answer segment at some point in the near future.
But for the meantime, here are some of our first ever questions and answers.
Here we go. You ready for number 1?
Sure.
What is the most overrated Disney snack? And this question comes from G. Skip Cormier on Facebook.
That is a very good question because it comes down to personal taste, right? Like, for sure. What's overrated to one person might be somebody else's favorite. For instance, I know that Rob, our friend Rob, really doesn't like Mickey's premium bars.
Yeah, which is insane.
I mean, it's wrong, but it's, you know, it's just an opinion.
It's his opinion. It's a wrong opinion, but it's his opinion. Yeah, I don't know. People get very emotional about Disney snacks. I think that a lot of people would say that the popcorn is overrated, right? It's just popcorn at the end of the day, which is fair. I think that people might say that a Dole Whip is overrated, though I do think that they're wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah, I think they're wrong.
Wrong opinion.
The issue here is that you and I like pretty much all the Disney snacks.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for us to find an overrated Disney snack because we think so highly of all of them.
I would probably say the candy apples and the caramel apples. I love how they look. I think they're really pretty, but they are impossible to eat. They are a snack that doesn't want you to eat it. And that's a crime.
If a snack steals the teeth from your mouth, it might be a little bit overrated, yeah.
Yes, and I know there are people who have said you can ask them to chop it up for you, but like, usually the bakery is really busy, and I don't want to make them have to like hack it into pieces just so that I can then eat smaller pieces of tooth-breaking candy. Like, I don't get it.
I think I have one, and this is, again, personal taste, and to somebody else, this is going to be a super incorrect opinion.
Yes, that's okay. Safe space.
I think that cupcakes are often overrated in Disney.
Yeah, I think that that's a fair hot take.
So many times it'll be like a very small bit of cake that's stuffed with filling and then has a mountain of frosting on top of it. And so it's so imbalanced. It looks beautiful. The colors are amazing. Like the craftsmanship that goes into sculpting these cupcakes. Yeah, amazing. But I don't want to take a single bite of them because it just ends up like eating a tub of frosting. Like you might as well just spoon it into your mouth.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that opinion. I think a lot of people feel that way about the cupcakes. So there you go. Apples and cupcakes.
Apples and cupcakes, overrated. Stick with some of the old classics. The Mickey's Premium Bars, you can't go wrong. A turkey leg, a churro, a Dole Whip.
All right, what's our next question here, Brett?
All right. The Real Chicano Heat asks, 1-drop Daisy or 1-drop Lilo?
1-drop Lilo all the way.
1-drop Daisy all the way.
Wow, and then we fight to the death.
Yes.
I just think 1-drop Lilo's really cute. And I had a really good time playing her in my deck.
Lilo is extremely cute, but Daisy's on a date with Donald, and that is cute also.
You're making a really fair point.
Daisy is overperforming for me. I think I actually underrated that card. Like, I think there's been some discourse in the community that's like, oh, she hasn't been that great. Like, Hyper Aggro hasn't really made that much of an impact. In the decks where I've wanted to play Daisy, she has been absolutely incredible. She is so sticky. She's questing for 4 most of the time. I mean, I could not ask for more. Just in terms of raw power level, Daisy is really good. And if you build to mitigate her downside, you are rolling.
Yeah, that's incredible. She is a really good card. And I think Lilo is fading a bit to the back here. And that's no shade on Daisy. I just really like Lilo. But I get it. Yeah,
there are some hyper aggro decks that are just trying to get as many of those 1-cost quest for 2 characters in there. But I think a lot of decks are only going to have space for one of the two. And in those instances, I think the choice is going to be Daisy more often than not.
Definitely.
All right, Katie, do you have another question?
I sure do. This question comes from Billy.
Okay. How did Billy get in here?
Oh, Billy, come on now.
I thought we had gotten rid of all these goats. I thought we had found a pasture for them.
Oh, this is so embarrassing.
All right, let me drag this goat out of here. In the restaurant, too. That can't be sanitary. All right, hold on. All right, sorry about that, everybody. I thought this was going to be a real question. Then all of a sudden, this goat starts chiming in. All right, Katie, do you have a real question for us here? Something that isn't, I don't know, just a goat bleeding?
I do. I'm sorry about that. Our next question comes from K and B Play Games. What is your favorite Lorcana card that isn't enchanted?
Rapunzel, gifted with healing.
Wow.
Instant answer.
Now, this is overall favorite, right? Like favorite to play with, favorite to look at?
There was no qualification in the question, and my gut instinct is to say Rapunzel when asked that question.
Wow, just gut favorite.
How about you?
This is tricky because the one I'm thinking of is enchanted, and I like the enchanted version of it.
What is it?
Bell Strange but Special.
That makes sense.
And I like the non-enchanted version too, I should say, in my own defense. And we didn't have an enchanted until just a couple weeks ago, and I definitely would have still said it was my favorite even if we didn't have it.
Then that's a fine answer.
I think it's allowed.
We'll let it stand.
Okay, good.
I actually was asked this question at the DLC in Toronto by Demetrius, who's a friend that we made in Fort Worth and who I saw again in Toronto. And he had a binder full of cards and he was going around asking folks, like, what's your favorite card? And I said instantly, Rapunzel. And he flipped to a Rapunzel and had me sign it from Smorkana. So That was really, really cool. And he said that he had been asking that question to a whole bunch of people, and that usually it takes a good bit of time, or they're hemming and hawing or deciding between a couple of different cards, but that I answered the fastest out of anybody when asked that question. So yeah, Rapunzel's definitely my favorite. There are a lot of other cards that I would put in the top 10 that are really, close to each other, but Rapunzel's a cut above for me. I love that card. I love the art. I love it mechanically. I love that we opened one in our first ever pack of Lorcana cards. So many of my favorite decks include her, especially Ruby and Amber mixed together. She's definitely at the top of my list.
All right, what's our next question here?
All right, the next question is from MM in LA, and they say, my boyfriend and I have been dating for over 80 years.
Whoa!
I keep thinking he'll pop the question, but the day never arrives. We're having a great time together. No other relationship troubles to speak of. Should I be worried about his lack of a formal commitment?
Wow, 80 years.
Yeah, getting to dating advice questions on our podcast. That's kind of cool.
I know. Well, hey, I can't blame him.
So what do you think here? I mean, 80 years is a long time to not be kind of formally tying the knot.
I mean, I think the real question here comes from a lack of communication. Clearly, she wants to get married, and clearly he doesn't even know that. Especially if she's saying that everything else in their relationship is fine. Maybe it's work. Maybe he's really tied up with his job. Can't focus on her.
Yeah, I mean, they do say that they're having a great time together, right? So it seems like they have a good foundation. And I mean, you don't stay with somebody for 80 years and not get along with them. So yeah, maybe a conversation just needs to be had here to see if what they want really aligns.
Yeah, I don't want to squeak in any cheesiness here, but it seems like they could get better at communication, and then it's almost like nothing could stop them now, Best of luck to you out there, MM.
Yeah, best of luck, MM. All right, next question.
Our next question comes from Cypher1000, who asks, who is the best captain?
All right, now this is another open-ended question, right? Because we could be talking about who is the best Star Trek captain, who is the best, literary naval sea captain,
Yes.
Who is the best captain card in Lorcana. It could go in a lot of different directions, but there is actually only one answer to all of them, and it's that it's Donald Duck Buccaneer.
To all those questions, the answer is Donald Duck Buccaneer.
Exactly, yeah. You thought it was Captain Kirk or Horatio Hornblower or something like... No. It's Donald Duck Buccaneer. And that's why his playmat is best playmat.
End of podcast. Now you know everything. I would have to disagree, unfortunately. In my opinion, it's Piglet Poo Pirate Captain. Now, there are a lot of really great Captain hooks out there that I think are great cards, but Piglet Poo Pirate Captain is so good, especially if you can play him with a Smee, if you're playing an Amber Steel deck. I just think he never lets you down.
You're speaking articulately and making points that I'm sure somebody else might agree with. Unfortunately, everything you're saying is total hogwash, so...
End of podcast.
End of podcast and end of segment. No, there's one more question.
Ooh!
This comes from Lorcana Fanatics.
Oh, fun. We
Our
love them.
pals down in Austin. What is the meaning of life?
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, the classic answer is, of course, 42. I've been around the universe.
I think the meaning of life is playing games like Lorcana. Right?
Yeah.
We're put on this earth for some reason, and it seems to make a lot more sense to me to have fun than to not have fun.
Yeah, you have all of these facets of Lorcana. You have mathematics, you have a social aspect, there's wonderful art, there's pop culture. I mean, some of the most important works of pop culture from the last 100+ years are part of Lorcana, but ultimately it brings everybody together. Yeah, so that's being human. So when you say that the meaning of life is playing games like Lorcana, I mean, yeah, right? You can have people who like math and people who like art and people who like pop culture and people who are social butterflies and people who aren't, but they can all love this one thing. It's awesome. I mean, that's human experience right there for you. The best of human experience is coming together over something you can all enjoy.
Yeah.
So the meaning of life, QED, is Lorcana.
End of podcast. Hello.
Hi, Melga. How's it going?
Hello, it's good. I brought you dessert.
Oh, dessert. Thanks. What have we got here?
We have a play on the Oreo.
The Oreo?
Yes, the Oreo cookie.
Oh, Oreo cookie. Oh, yeah.
You know. Enjoy.
Thanks, Melga. Hey, Melga.
Yes.
I have to say, I thought Helga was really tall, but you're really tall. You're way up there.
Yes.
How tall are you?
Very tall.
Yeah, I can see that.
Taller than my sister, but we are twins.
It's funny how that happens.
Yes, enjoy.
Oh, Melga.
Wow,
What
classic.
a breath of fresh air, huh?
Yeah, she's so new. She's so different.
Yeah, something entirely different than we've ever had before in the restaurant.
And that's the fun thing about her.
Yeah, totally. All right, what have we got here for dessert? We've got this Oreo. Oh, it's a 101 Dalmatians themed dream card.
Oh my god, that's why it's black and white, like the black and white spots.
We are looking at Nanny, Almost Canine.
Yes, this is a 4-cost inkable amber card.
She has 2 strength and 5 willpower, and she quests for 1. She's a storyborn ally, and she has 2 abilities.
Her first ability is The Puppies Are Here! Your character's named Dalmatian puppy gain ward.
And the second ability is Old Totter. For each character named Dalmatian puppy you have in play, this character gains +1 lore. And she has the flavor text.
Don't you dare go up there, you big, long-legged lummox!
So we have a Dalmatian puppy payoff card, a DPPC.
Oh my gosh, a DPPC!
The Dalmatian puppy deck has been a pet favorite for some folks.
Hey!
But we wanted to make a card that would enable that archetype a little bit more. Have a really big payoff for playing a whole bunch of Dalmatian puppies in your deck.
Yes, and it's nearly unstoppable. It's a rare card, so it really depends on, how many puppies you can put on the board. But it can be like legendary status when it gets out there. If you've got 8 puppies on your board and then you play her and Nanny quests for 9, that's awesome.
Could be pretty cool. And she can protect your puppies, right? She's going to make it a little bit harder for them to get removed. So you can just sit your puppies out on the board and then you play Nanny. And then maybe the next turn you drop 2 or 3 more puppies. And then all of a sudden she's questing for an insane amount. She is vulnerable to removal herself. So, there's no guarantee that she'll ever get to quest for that much. But I think she's really fun in a deck that features a whole bunch of those Dalmatian puppies.
Yeah, it's really, really great to see Nanny in a card. 101 Dalmatians is one of our favorite Disney movies, so we wanted to give her the honor of finally being on her own card.
I'm just waiting for the super combo. I'm thinking that, Ahmed Toby would love to try to set up a scenario where there's a deck of, 1 lucky dime, 4 nannies, and 99 Dalmatian puppies, right?
Yes.
So you could have your 4 dimes out, have 99 puppies in play. You could have each nanny quest for 400 and then trigger each dime for another 400.
Yes.
And get 800 lore in a single turn.
Don't say it too loud or he'll hear you.
And then you could quest with the 99 puppies, so that would be 899 lore in a single turn.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, all you need to do is play all 99 of your puppies, 4 nannies, and 4 lucky dimes.
That's easy. That can be done.
Sounds like a deck.
Sounds like a deck.
Okay, what's next on the menu, Katie?
Woo! Okay, so we had a really great interview this week. TBD on that, however, because we are waiting on Ravensburger's permission to release this fancy interview.
Yeah, you heard that right. We recorded a very cool interview. I can't wait to hopefully share it with you. It's just that we couldn't get it screened in time. And so we're hoping that by next week, you'll be privy to that content.
It's really cool to say that we can't say anything about it yet. It's making us all giggly over here.
We're also going to be recapping Las Vegas and Birmingham, those DLCs, and give you an in-depth look at the state of the meta. It's time to really get into the nitty-gritty, talk about what decks are out there. It's not something we like to do every week because it shifts all the time. We try to do some fun, different, varied content for you. But I think it is time to really dive in and do our feature episode on the state of the meta. So we're going to have some special surprises for that as well.
Yeah, but before we get into all of that, we're going to get right back down to playing ourselves and ripping apart these decks and swimming in the shimmering skies and looking forward to our dunk in the Azurite Sea.
That will be refreshing indeed. And it releases on my birthday.
Wow, how exciting!
All right, well, until next time, keep on snacking, y'all.